Starting, and we are live just that quick. So let me go here, go to my YouTube page. Well, that showed up quick. Do a copy. Home. Tweet. Paste. And there we go. So we can go ahead and get started live. Yo, 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 what is good, YouTube? What is good, gamers? It is your boy, Lincoln Clay, coming back at you already an hour later. Gunru, what is up? Ryan, what is up? Let's all be one cohesive unit and hit the like button and help spread the content to a wider audience. And make sure you hit the bell icon so you can stay notified when I put out new content. I would appreciate that. If you are a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. I hope you are enjoying the content. And welcome to a special edition of The Lincoln Show. I am your host, Lincoln Clay. And my guest today, without a doubt, is one of my favorite YouTubers. He can be very outspoken with a little bit of European pizzazz. I am speaking of none other than Foxy Games UK. Welcome to the show, my friend. Would you be so kind to give everyone a UK intro?
Thank you for having me for this interview. I was quite surprised when you actually suggested it, because not many people wish to interview me for some reason. I don't know, but here I am, and here you go. Shout out to all the Foxy Games UK subscribers. Shout out to everyone on Patreon, anyone that supports me on Twitter, anywhere, anyhow. Thank you, and let's go. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, Jay Wags, I see you in the comment section. Hey, I'm subscribed to like 50, 60 people. And I probably say about, 20 of those people rise above the rest of them. And Foxy UK is definitely in that upper echelon of my favorite YouTubers, as well as you, Thrash, and everybody else. So it's not something that I say to everybody. It's something that I truly mean.
I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, without a doubt. As far as how I came to asking you to be on the show, it was more or less with sick humor. We were in the PlayStation Plus podcast last Sunday, I believe, and Sick Humor suggested it. And myself, you were definitely on my radars as far as someone that I definitely wanted to have on the show. But I'm not going to lie, 15,000 subscribers against 150 or what have you. I wasn't sure if you'd be willing to do it.
Really? I've heard that so many times, but you know what? I'll be honest with you. I am grassroots level when it comes to gaming. I don't care about the closer you get to corporate, the further away I want to be. So, I'm not going to use any foul language. I'm going to keep it professional, but I like to hang out with, YouTubers on my level or lower, because at the end of the day, I know I'm part of the struggle. I came from the struggle. I started my channel with nothing, no help from nobody, made my way and navigated these YouTube streets. And, I'm quite happy with my channel. I'm happy with my fan base, and you just got to persevere and just believe in yourself. If you really love gaming and you're passionate, the money doesn't even come into it. You'll do it for free if you love gaming.
This is absolutely true. And and again, I can't thank you enough for being here. Speaking with you a little bit, before we went live, it was an absolute pleasure to get to know you. Very down to earth. And as far as the language goes, feel free to be Foxy Games UK, even if it means, even if it is profane laced. Be my guest. Jay Wags was a guest on my show about a week ago, and I encouraged him to be Jay Wags, even if it meant yelling and screaming and a lot of profanity. I wanted him to be Jay Wags, and so that's a definite thing I want, from the guests, is for them to be themselves. You don't have to compromise your personality because you're on somebody else's stream.
Yeah, I've just got this philosophy and mindset that, if you walk into like someone's grandmother's house or a church or somewhere where respect should be given, that's how I treat other people's channels. If they say I can just be free, then I'm all for that as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. So, I'm ready to get into these questions. I have, I think, roughly 15, 16 questions to ask you. And so getting right into the first question, I understand that you have sources within the industry, Sony in particular.
Yes, I do. They actually predate Sony. in terms of not Sony's existence, but actually working at Sony. Just some background on that. I worked at a company called Argonaut Software UK. They were based in Middlesex, which is part of London, but they call it Middlesex. And I was working there in the marketing PR department for quite a few years back in the early 2K. But unfortunately, due to the change in the industry and some bad decisions, Argonaut became defunct, and they were no more. So they shut their doors, and a lot of their staff went to various parts of the industry, not just games. Some of them went to work in the movie industry. Some became novelists. I kept in contact with a lot of the people, my peers, people I looked up to, and two of them happened to land a gig at Sony in Sony's ICE team. And yeah, they are what I would call my sources, but not only just sources, they are friends and colleagues that I've known for many years.
Wow. So it sounds like your former colleagues, a lot of them went off and did pretty good for themselves. Uh,
Yeah, I should have followed them. I'm only joking.
uh, well, from a YouTube standpoint, I think you're doing excellent. Um,
Thank you.
so, is the information you usually receive from your sources, is it what they heard, are they usually bringing you facts?
No, it's what they know at any given time. Of course, this is an industry that changes like a heartbeat. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they work on various uh, different configurations of hardware when they are preparing the next generation. So nothing's set in stone. Things change as times move on. But I'm pretty confident the information I was given last year is pretty much where we're going with PS5, more or less. But things can change.
Okay, and that was I was already watching your videos before that, but you came out with a video last year explaining that you had sources within an industry, and you gave some rough estimates of what the specs was going to be of the PS5 along with its release date, and that's what and that sealed it right there that I subscribed to your channel, and not only that, I did a couple of videos when I first started my YouTube channel of what I thought was going to happen with the PS5 in terms of its release date based on the information that you received and credited you for it.
Yeah.
So it's an absolute honor to go from, hey, I heard, I saw Foxy Games UK. He said this actually having you here. So, wow, who would have thought, from my standpoint.
But one thing I'd like to say, I am nobody. I don't want anyone. No, you could have one subscriber to your channel. If I like you and you come at me correctly, and I feel like you know your stuff, I'll agree to things. I don't look at the size of a channel. I don't even look at the size of my channel, believe it or not. I hardly study the analytics page of YouTube. It's the most boring place on my channel. I very rarely go there. So, I just want to say that people, if they want to interview me or they want me on their podcast or they want to talk to me, I am very approachable. I'm not one of these big-headed motherfuckers who have 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20. They don't, they look at you as like an insect. Like, I'm not like that, man. We're all in this thing together.
Without a doubt, and we definitely all got to come together to make this industry a better place. And some people don't get that message. Some of them are stuck on the other side of the fence, and they refuse. Uh, how often do you talk to your sources?
Honestly, not very often. um I'd say like several times a year.
Okay, and and based on your sources, what's the latest realistic timeline for the PS5? In your opinion?
Well, they haven't given me a release date because Sony haven't even penned a release date properly at this time anyway. There's a tentative window, of course, but there is no release date, not even with the confines of Sony. But if I was to give you a guesstimation, I'm going to stick with what I've been saying. I think that Sony are going to reveal the PS5 in 2019, and it's going to see either a first quarter 2020 launch, or it's going to launch in the fall of 2020, but it will definitely be in 2020. But I'm more leaning towards the first quarter than the fall, though, because I think Sony know that they don't have to launch anything in the busy holiday season anymore. More people have money in March actually than they do in November or December or even October because they have to buy other things. It's that time of year.
That's a good point that I've never taken into consideration. It seems here in the states, it seems like November is usually the target date for Microsoft in particular to try to release consoles. And with Christmas being around the corner, if they want to get that shiny new toy for the child, they'll find a way to get it. And because of that philosophy, I came, I've come with the opinion that I think the PS5 is going to release in November of 2019.
That's possible, but I wouldn't. If I was a betting man, that wouldn't be where I'd go.
Understood. Understood. Um, I agree with the first quarter of 2020. Um, I'm thinking that if there's not a release, we'll definitely have a concrete date by then.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And people should consider as well that in the UK, the PlayStation 3 launched. I think it was March.
Not sure.
No, it definitely launched in the first quarter, but I'm not sure if it was March or if it was April. But it certainly launched in the UK. PS3, I'm talking about.
Okay.
So
Uh,
Sony are not adverse to launching in that window because they did it with the PS3. But in the UK, I know in the US it probably launched in November. I think we got it later than you guys.
uh, if my memory is correct, the PS3 was supposed to launch in November of 2005, just like the Xbox 360 was. The Xbox 360 released first, and I guess according to Sony, the PS3 wasn't ready yet, so they put the launch back until November of 2006, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah, I remember that. Disastrous.
Yes,
But it worked out in the end.
that it did. So last week, I don't know if you I think you'll remember this, but last week in the PlayStation Plus podcast, you mentioned what you had. You mentioned having what you called a pixel crush. Could you explain to the viewers what that is?
Pixel crush. Okay, a pixel crush is when video game characters look so realistic that you can actually admire them as you would the natural form of a human being, male or female, depending on your sexual persuasion. Obviously, I'm into women, um, but there are characters in video games that I look at and I think, wow, she is actually very attractive. So that's what a pixel crush is. It's nothing sinister. You know, I don't grab the lotion and a towel.
So based on your definition of a pixel crush, who would be your pixel crush?
Ooh, there's a question. Okay, there's quite a few. There's Uncharted,
Okay.
Chloe,
Oh yeah.
okay, from Uncharted The Lost Legacy, because she looks at her best in that game, obviously, because it's on PS4. There's also a couple of characters in Until Dawn, and definitely Detroit Become Human, which is an amazing game, by the way. And let's have a look. Far Cry 5, the sister. What's her name? Is it not Evie? What's her Faith? Faith from Far Cry 5. There's quite a few I could mention, that I could look at it and say, wow, those women are attractive. Even Until Dawn, um, obviously not as a child, Aloy as an adult. So that's a pixel crush.
Uh, yeah, Aloy is beautiful, but she also looks like one of those chicks that if you piss her off, you might find an arrow in your back. So
I like a strong woman. I like a woman that can try and put me in my place. I love a challenge. I don't like someone I can walk all over. If I meet someone like that, it won't last very long. I'll be out of there within a week. I'll get bored. I get bored very quickly.
hmm
So I
okay,
do like
so
powerful women, strong women, that don't take no shit.
right. Uh, yeah, I agree with that. I'm in that gray area of I don't mind a woman that stands her ground, but I don't like a total bitch either. So
No, no, no. You want a woman with class. a woman who's demure and at times placid, but you also don't want to be able to tell her everything your mind wants to tell her and have her under your control. Because if you can control somebody, if you have someone under control, that's like a video game character. And once you finish with them, you move on to the next one, right?
Right. And so here's my Pixel Crush, and I don't think anybody's gonna be too familiar with this Pixel Crush right here. But have you played Bravo Team for the PlayStation VR?
No, I don't actually own PlayStation VR. I was mildly interested in it towards its launch. I tested it out at a friend's house, and she was very lucky to get it like 3 weeks early.
Oh,
But I feel like a lot of the games that they put together for that hardware is very much in its demo stage, tech demo stage. I like full games that I can really sink my teeth into, and I don't want to really take myself out of the room either. You know, because you really have to with VR. You have to kind of surrender your entire being to that unit, so nothing exists outside of that headset. I'm not. I don't know how I feel about that.
I agree with that too, and because of that, sometimes that can be scary because what you just said right there definitely applies to Resident Evil 7. Once you go inside that grimy, dirty house and you're wearing a headset, and it completely immerses you within the game, and something jumps out after you, you almost feel like you've got nowhere to go. So there's been a
Mm.
couple of times where I got shook up and got scared and had to close my eyes to, to avoid freaking out. But to answer who my Pixel Crush is on the Bravo team for the PlayStation VR, at the beginning of it, some U.S. soldiers was transporting a female president of a foreign country. She had short black hair and looked like a career woman, and I thought she was absolutely gorgeous. So so for the viewers, that's who my Pixel Crush is at the beginning of uh Bravo team, where you see the U.S. soldiers in the Hummer with the female president. She is gorgeous.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
would be my Pixel Crush if I could, swipe a credit card through a machine and construct my woman. It would look like her.
My only issue is I don't feel that, I'm not really too concerned if this upsets anybody, but I am a bit disappointed with the lack of women of color in video games, because in Uncharted 4 you do have a woman of color, but they've made her so macho and so manly that it's difficult to find her attractive that way. You maybe you're attracted to her being a badass, but she doesn't have any really soft elements to her because they've made her very butch. Do you know what I'm saying? She's
Yeah.
physical. She's very physical.
Yeah, she looked like the type of chick you have sex with, or she might choke you or give you a left hook right in the middle of
Exactly.
sex.
Right. So I feel they need to have more women of color in video games. Latino women as well. I can't leave out my Latino women. Asians. I think you need a lot more of that. Instead of the Asian being the intellectual one in video games all of the time, that's like a stereotype, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Even though it's a nice stereotype, because the world is being fed that you are intelligent people, you work hard, you study hard, but that's not all there is to Asian people. I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but there are many layers to human beings.
Yeah, definitely. So in the Real Gamers podcast with Ryan the Professional last Friday, I think that was the first time that I talked to you in that podcast. In that podcast, you mentioned that you were so passionate about video games that you are prepared to leave a woman if you're forced to choose between her and gaming. Were you serious about that?
Absolutely. Listen, I've been gaming for 30 years.
For
I am
13
never,
years?
yeah, 30 years I've been gaming, and I've never had a woman for 30 years. So gaming has been more loyal to me. And I'm not saying like a woman has been disloyal to me. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. I don't know. I've never found or had reason to suspect any woman was being disloyal to me. But I'm saying that my love for video games has surpassed the time I've spent with any woman in my entire life. Video game, and I don't want to sound like a sexist person here, but you don't get into argument with video games. They don't argue back with you. They don't answer you back. You can turn them off when you want to. You can turn them on when you want to. Oh, if only women were that way. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Depending on what woman you run into, I might not be joking.
No, I am joking. I do like strong women who have a soft nature as well. You want a tough woman, but you need someone who knows how to love, and you need a woman that is knows how to present herself to a crowd or people, But yeah, that's true. I would, if I was getting headache. Oh, you're playing games all the time, which I don't do. I don't play games like throughout the entire day. I have dedicated time at playing games. So I do have a daughter, so obviously I don't have time to play games all day. Um, but if I was being nagged senseless about video games, I think just hand me the divorce papers and I'll sign.
In my case, I live by myself, so I march to the beat of my own drum. So I play video games when the moment strikes me. My two passions are working out and playing video games. And not only are they my passion, it is also my escape when I come home from a hard day's work.
You need it.
I have to do one or the other.
You need it. You need a way to vent, and you need a way to relax your mind. For me, video games relax me. I'm in my most relaxed state when I'm playing video games.
My emotions, it relaxes me, but sometimes when you're in something real competitive, it can be really intense. And I've like MLB The Show is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation. That I've had some games that I've played online that left me mentally drained because I've had games that's gone 17 innings where there wasn't a score yet,
Oh yeah,
and
online's different.
I didn't want to make any mistakes.
Yeah, online's different. I was more talking about a single player campaign mode, where you can take your time and explore the world and forget about your troubles, forget that you have to pay taxes, forget that you might have to go to divorce court, forget that you're paying child support, forget that you have to be submissive to the government of your land. Video games are escapism.
There's no question about that. And my preference is single player games. So in that sense, you're absolutely right. I rarely come home and play a single player game and get upset with it. I don't,
No, I
because like
don't. I turn it off. Like Bloodborne and games like that are so frustrating to me that I'll try it for a while. If I ever feel that my temperature's rising, I swap the game and play something else, because video games aren't supposed to distress you and leave you feeling frustrated, because that's a negative vibe, isn't it? And when I'm playing video games, I'm not interested. Even if it's a horror game, I still don't feel a negative vibe because I'm in control.
yeah, that's definitely the way I look at it too. Um, and I think video games is, I don't know, it'd be kind of tough to find something to do without them. I mean, I'd have those moments where, hey, come home, I don't see a PlayStation under that TV. Ooh, what am I gonna do? It would be some days like that.
I just want to qualify something though. What I said about women, that I would just sign the divorce paper if they were getting in my way of gaming. This is a reality that I have faced in the past, but not in the present or the future, because I wouldn't be with a woman who wasn't into video games anyway. She has to be a gamer too, so that problem's almost eliminated.
Yeah, definitely. I want to take a quick second to acknowledge someone in the chat. Jet I, he said, shout out to Lincoln for this interview. He's been a longtime fan of Foxy. Good dude right there. I appreciate it, Jet.
Thank you, thank you.
So
I'm actually. I know you said that you felt like a sense of privilege when I agreed to do the interview, but I have to tell you, I felt a lot of privilege and a lot of I felt humbled when you even asked me. So you know, and I didn't even look at your channel. I didn't look at the subscriber count. I didn't have time. You asked me when we were live on the podcast, right? Or at
yes,
some stage of the podcast, maybe before we went live. But you asked me, and I agreed without even checking your channel out, because I got a good vibe from you immediately, and I'm a good judge of someone's temperament and personality. I have a lot of confidence in how I perceive people and judge people.
I definitely appreciate that. Myself, I'm an even keeled person. The way you hear me talking right now is usually about as loud as you're going to hear me get. Even if I've give some pretty fierce opinions, I usually keep a level head about it. I usually keep an even keel attitude. I think at 51 years old, all the shit that that would get you
Wow,
all worked up and all
51.
that. Yeah, 51 years old.
And you are
Um,
not afraid to tell everyone your age. I respect that.
Not at all. I mean, I don't look 51. You can't tell by that picture right there. But when I was 21 years old, which is the legal drinking age here in the States, when I was 21 years old, I still looked like I was 14 years old. And I would go to the store to try to buy beer or wine. And the cashiers would try to keep my ID because they thought it was fake. They would want to try to keep it so they could turn it into the police.
Wow,
And so right now, I'm 51 years old. People have told me that I still look like I'm in my 30s. I don't
bless it,
drink.
bless.
I haven't had a drink in about 6 years. And off and on, I've been working out off and on for about 25, 26 years.
You're
Um,
blessed. You're blessed. You're truly blessed.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And so the next question was going to be Detroit Become Human. Have you played it yet?
Have I played Detroit Become Human? I have. I've lost myself in that game. Actually, it's funny you mentioned Detroit Become Human because that's all I've been thinking about since you started this interview. I'm listening to you obviously, and I'm engaged in this interview. You have my undivided attention, but there's a tiny portion of my brain that is just signaling Detroit Become Human. Detroit Become Human. It's ridiculous. Game's fantastic, amazing. It is a game I believe everyone should play, regardless if you don't like the genre, because the story is for every human being on this planet. It's such a deep, meaningful game, mature story. I would say it's nothing for kids. It's definitely for adults. But the themes and what David Cage as a writer tackles is just he's just a leader in this industry when it comes to writing. I know people criticize him, and sometimes his writing can be a bit off sometimes, but it's very difficult to relay paper into video game because you have to somehow take somebody's thoughts, ideas of the world and convert that into polygons and video game and tell a story that has multiple branches. So of course some of it isn't going to be perfect because you're dealing with a very complex multi branching storyline that really has many outcomes. There are literally hundreds of endings in that game.
And I'm along with you. I think that's a fantastic game. I absolutely love it. In fact, I love the game so much that unless the game can have 100% of my attention, I'm not going to play it. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna play the game and then watch highlights on ESPN on another TV. If I'm playing Detroit Become Human, it has 100% of my attention because I love the game
Absolutely.
that much, and I don't want to miss something. Being distracted.
If
And
I
I
was
played.
to, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, I absolutely loved Heavy Rain too. And so I knew I was going to like Detroit Become Human without a doubt.
I've been playing David Cage Quantic Dream games since the PlayStation, no, the Dreamcast. Omricon was the first game, I believe, or it could have been. I'm not 100% sure, but did Fahrenheit or Indigo Prophecy launch on the PS1 and then get made for the PS2, or was it a PS2 game to begin with? Because I've played those two. In fact, I've played all of his games. I don't think there's a game that they've made that I haven't played and enjoyed. I mean, if I was to review the game, which I haven't, and believe me, I wouldn't submit a review because I haven't got to the ending yet, but I'm pretty far into the game, so I pretty much know, it can't really mess up now because it's been consistent all the time I've been playing, and I put like 12 hours into this game already.
Wow.
I would say the control, but I've been playing it slow though. I've been taking in everything, the details, the environment. I've been reading everything I pick up. I've been doing absolutely everything as if it was real life. But if I was to review the game, this is what I tweeted out today, actually, not more than an hour ago. I said that the control mechanism could be tighter because I find it a little convoluted. It didn't need all of that button pressing combinations of buttons at all. It didn't need that. But once you're hooked into the characters and the environments, the glorious visuals and audio, and quite possibly perhaps the most complex story branching I have ever seen in any form of entertainment, I mean, making this game must have been a fucking nightmare for the team. You know, for that reason, I give the game 9 out of 10.
I would agree with that, and I've said that in numerous podcasts that Sony has so many hits that they've put out in the past couple of years, and hits that they have coming for the rest of this year and next year. That at one point I was looking forward to Detroit Become Human more than I was looking forward to God of War. That was definitely a game that at one point was number one on my radar.
Is that because you wasn't sure of the direction God of War was going in because they were being quite secretive about it early on, or was it because you are really into narrative heavy? I mean, are you the type of person that enjoys quote unquote, walking simulators?
Not so much a walking simulator. I just wanted to see a great story play out. And so
Oh,
it wasn't so
okay.
much about the simplicity of the controls. It was just wanting to see a great story play out, because that's what I am about with campaigns. That's why I like campaigns better, because if you have a great story, I love seeing the story play out like a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan. I know some people can't handle them. I love walking simulators. I love them. What Remains of Edith Finch and games like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I love games like that because the story unfolds the further you get into it, and you're moving at such a slow pace that you almost have to take in the environmental details to solve the puzzles. I mean, if you was to be able to rush through the game, you'd miss so much of it, and you probably finish the game within 45 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I love walking. I mean, I'm not a genre duppy, and that goes for everything. Like, I don't know if do you know what the word duppy means? I know Drake has a duppy diss track for Pusha T, but do you know what duppy means?
No, not really. I'm sorry.
Okay, duppy is a ghost. In Jamaica, we call a duppy a ghost, like a spirit, a ghost, like a bad spirit. So that's what a duppy is. It's just another way of saying ghost. Okay.
Oh,
And when it comes to music and movies and video game genres, the arts, theater, any form of mainstream entertainment, I enjoy everything. Heavy metal, classical, jazz, hip hop, R&B, soul, rare groove, 60s music, some 50s music. I like some rock and roll, Chuck Berry. There's nothing I don't like. Dubstep, drum and bass. There's nothing I don't like. There is nothing. Even Marilyn Manson, which is like he's the antithesis of an antichrist wannabe, but he's done a few tracks that I enjoy. Doesn't mean I support his lifestyle. Do you know what I'm saying?
right. Absolutely.
I'm
Uh,
not co-signing his lifestyle. So I'm just enjoying the art. I think we judge people too much on their personality. We should be judging them on their final product. What are they bringing to the table in terms of entertainment? I think we judge people too much.
yeah, definitely. Especially here in America, they are, some of them will judge you before they even speak to you. Um,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. See, even I've heard. I'm not homophobic in any way at all. I'll just lay that right there, out there, right? I say each to their own. But you got people that stop supporting people when they come out of the closet. And I'm thinking, but you enjoyed their music before you knew they were gay. What difference does it make that they're gay? It's not like when you play their music, you are lying down with them and performing an act of displeasure in your mind. No, you're not. So you shouldn't judge the person. You should enjoy everything that the entertainment world has to offer as long as it doesn't interfere with your moral code. And I don't see how listening to Luther Vandross music, can interfere with your moral codes because you found out the guy was a homosexual. Sorry to get deep.
No. That's okay because I didn't know he was homosexual until you mentioned that. But it doesn't change my thought of his music because I've loved his music for years, and that is not going to change. Learning that because his music is embedded so far into my soul, I couldn't pry it out even if I wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so I feel we judge people too much. Like, look at what people are producing, not how they live, because their life has nothing to do with you. What they do behind closed doors has nothing to do with you.
Absolutely. So currently, Detroit Become Human. I checked this morning, but uh, this morning I checked, and Detroit Become Human has a Metacritic score of 79. How do you think the Xbox will react to that?
Um, it's still 10 points higher than State of Decay 2. So I don't know how, in what way they can react, to be honest. They're still in a position of weakness within their little playground of fanboy console wars. Um, I don't think Metacritic scores matter too much because the Order 1886 didn't perform particularly well with reviewers, and it has a very low Metacritic score in the grand scheme of things. But as long as the PlayStation library has more games that are critically acclaimed than games that are not, I don't see any issue at all. I mean, Sony can't produce every game can't be a smasher. Every game can't be a runaway hit. Every artist produces music in their album. You're gonna have some duds in there. But overall, what they're producing is excellent.
Yeah, that's for sure. Um, and in one of your earlier podcasts, you mentioned that you would take someone apart down to a molecular level, put them back together again, so you can send them home to their mother. You remember that?
Yeah, I only said that because uh, you know uh, I'm interested in metaphysics, and we all know an atom has no solidity, yet it is solid within the realm of Earth. So we have tables, and we have chairs, and we have concrete, and we have TV sets, and we have plastic. We have all types of materials that are basically formed from atoms. And in the cosmos, in the universe, an atom has no solidity, none whatsoever. So how is it that atoms on Earth are solidified? And I don't know where I'm going with this, but the point is, I said I will break the person down at a molecular level and reconstruct them, because at the end of the day, to me, when people talk nonsense, I don't see them as a whole physical form anymore. I see them as a lost universal spirit that just hasn't joined the communion.
Yeah, when I first heard that, I never laughed so hard in one of your podcasts in my life. And so, because of that, do you end up getting into a lot of fights in your podcast with
No,
the
I
with
don't fight.
the
I don't
comments?
fight. I don't fight people. I check people. There's no fight. I don't lose any breath. I don't lose any breath. They're the ones puffing and huffing and weaving, and they'll blow your house down. Where's the three little pigs at? Whatever. They're the big bad wolf. I am the rock solid structure that I would say it never gets to me. Yeah, I've had some occasions where I've been at a low point in my life, and I have responded uh, in an unusual manner on Twitter. Yeah, because I'm human. I'm not those androids in Detroit Become Human who haven't, discovered themselves yet. I know myself, and these people, to me, are just butthurt, salty people that they can't handle the truth. I've never told lies, to my knowledge. I've never been outed as a liar, and I've never willingly told a lie. So if I haven't told a lie, then I must be speaking my truth, right? And if that upsets you, you have a problem with the truth. No, yeah, you don't have a problem with me. I'm just the messenger. You have a problem with the message, not the deliverer.
Yeah, absolutely. And that seems to be the message that these Xbots can't seem to get, that their issue is not with the Sony people. The issue should be with Phil Spencer and the rest of the Xbox brand. But I don't know. No, it seems like everything crazy that happens, they seem to
You
want
know,
to make it a Xbox versus Sony thing.
Lincoln, it's such a shame that we are people of limitless possibility. Do you know that? We're only limited by the body, right? Because obviously this is just a journey. Your body's a vehicle, right? You should
Yes.
see your body as just a vehicle. because the body is does have the body really doesn't have any consequence to who you are. Actually, it's just a suit. It's just, it's like a vehicle taking you from one place to another. And once you leave this body, then you will be limitless, and you can join all the energy in the universe. So it's sad that these people who are limitless in consciousness display such levels of idiocy on the internet. It's just, you lower yourselves to some pond life type existence. Like, you are like a tadpole in a pond that has yet to turn into a frog.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, sick humor, how you doing, buddy? Um, so glad you made it, and shout out to sick humor for he's the one that made the pitch to Foxy Games about coming on to the Leaking Show. So I can't thank you enough for that, my friend.
Oh,
Um,
sick in here. I'm not in.
yeah,
I'm not in the Google Hangouts. It's sick in here. Or are you talking about in the chat?
yeah, he's in the chat.
Oh, what up, Sick Humor TV? How's it going?
So coming up next, I've been here from the beginning, and you're gonna remember me, motherfucker. You remember saying that?
Oh, you've been doing your research. I see. These are all quotes.
Yes, absolutely. And I wasn't kidding when I said you're one of my favorite YouTubers. I mean,
Oh
you've said
man.
some things that absolutely had me on the floor cracking up, like till my sides hurt. And that was another one.
Savage Yuga in the chat has put he married Madonna, but you got me in between a comma. You quoted me, dude. um, yeah, I said that. Hands up, I confess. I mean, I don't know what to say. Everything I say, I mean, and everything I mean, I say. Unless I'm joking.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely remember it, and I thought, and
Say
I,
what?
I,
Quote
I
me again. Quote me again, word for word. What did I actually say? Was this a week ago or something?
this was earlier during the week. I was listening from work, and and it was a very noisy environment. So I was fortunate enough to catch most of it. But you were saying something to the effect of how many years you have been playing games, and how many years you have playing games, and then you said I've been here from the beginning, and you're gonna remember me, motherfucker. And it came out with the with the European accent that you have. That just absolutely had me on the floor. I mean, I had people at work looking at me like, "What the hell's he laughing at?" Because I had some headphones on, so I'm working, and out of the wild blue, I'm covering my mouth trying to keep the slob and spit and stuff from coming out of my mouth from laughing so hard.
Do you know what? I've got a very mixed up accent because I don't know if you know, but I've lived in your glorious country for 8 years.
What part did you live at?
I lived in Fort Myers, Florida, and I
Okay,
lived in Anaheim, California.
wow. Let me see. Sick Humor lives in Florida. I don't know what part of Florida he
You
lives
got
in.
Fort Lauderdale, you got Fort Myers. I mean, I spent about, say, maybe 3 years in Fort Myers, but most of the 8 years I spent was in Anaheim, California.
Okay.
OC, over on Catella,
Uh,
Chaplin.
so how did you like it here?
You know what? I was quite a novelty when I arrived in your country because my dad lives in the States.
Okay.
My dad's an Irishman, but he lives in the States. He left the UK and went to the States some years ago when my mother and he separated, and that's how much my mum must have nagged him. She ran him out of the UK. So there you go.
Oh,
But he lived. No, I'm joking, but he moved to the States, and I went when as I got a bit older. I wanted to be closer to my dad as well because I only really got to see him like at summers when I went over, to the States from the UK, but it was only for like a few weeks because obviously I had to go back to school, things like that. So when I got to like 16, 17, I went to the States and I spent 8 years there. And I was still coming back to the UK because I had a girlfriend here, a sort of on and off girlfriend here as well. And obviously I had family here. So I was still coming back to the UK, but America is the America I see in the news that they portray in the news over in the UK is not the America that I experienced. And it may be because I surrounded myself around like-minded people. I was very careful when I was in the States because I know I was like a stranger to the land and the people. So I was very careful about who I spent time with. So I was around like-minded people. So I avoided all of the nonsense that went on out there. So the stuff I see on the news, it's a very different America to the one I was in.
That's doesn't surprise me one bit because the media, the American media, definitely goes out of their way to paint the country in a certain manner, and it's definitely not what you're seeing on the news.
Yeah, it is sad. It's, I mean, because on one hand, in the UK, before the Trump era, in the UK, or before the Bush era, in the UK, America was portrayed as one big party, pool parties, beach parties, clubs, banging music, lowriders, like, and we also saw there were gangbangers, South Central, Compton, and you had the East Coast war and all that, but mostly it was advertised as one big party. Everyone was having fun. But when I went there, the reality was people are struggling harder in America than they are in the UK. Harder, at least in the UK, there is some type of benefit system that is like a support for people who are out of work, and you can be on it until you get a job, as long as you're trying to get a job, that is. But in the US, like as far as I remember, they gave it to you for, you could get unemployment for 6 months in some states, and then you're on your own.
Yeah, it is like that. It used to be a year, but they shortened it to 6 months. Because as a matter of fact, I just came off of unemployment myself. I worked at a job for about 10 years, and I got laid off, and I was allowed to collect unemployment. So I was on unemployment for about 2 months before I got another job. I didn't have to be on unemployment that long. I could have found another job right away, but I knew that once I got back to work, it would be a while before I got a vacation. So I went ahead and took 2 months to sit back and enjoy life for a minute before I go looking for a job. So
Yeah, the moral of the story is, if you don't have the money to back up the lifestyle you want, you're going to struggle anywhere you go in this world. Don't think it's the grass is greener because you see it on your TV. It ain't so.
no question about that. And then I learned the hard way from my younger days when I was young, living check to check. I learned when the bottom falls out, you lose your job, car breaks down, you go to jail or something like that. You find yourself in a very compromising position. So I learned that a long time ago to make sure you got some emergency money tucked away. So if something crazy happens, you can buy yourself some time until you can fix that problem. Um, so that's what's the situation. I was able to collect unemployment, but even if I didn't, I had enough money tucked away that I could go ahead and lay around on my ass for about a good month or so before I got up and got a job. Because once I get back to work, I'm back to work. Starting a new
Yeah.
job. It could be the way it works here. Some jobs you have to work a year before you get vacation. So that's what I
Well,
figured.
you need a job to keep up with this gaming, man.
You got that right. It's an expensive habit, but one that's not harmful in my opinion. Um,
No, no.
so where do you stand with the Xbox brand?
I stand away from it like Microsoft do. I take the same position Microsoft does. You don't have to buy it. So I won't support it then. I'm going to get a PC built, not built, I'm going to buy a PC, ready made that is like future proof for, say, a few years. And then I'll add to it as necessary. But I can't see myself buying Xbox hardware ever again. Not while they give me the option to play all of their games on the PC. The Xbox One S is probably going to be the last Xbox I purchase, um, because I did have an X. I had an Xbox One X. I bought it on launch day, but I sent it back to Amazon after 5 weeks because I just felt like it's not gonna. I could see the roadmap for Microsoft, and there's no point me spending money on this hardware. And I didn't just buy the hardware; I bought lots of stuff. I must have spent about £700. I must have been really stupid that day, but I spent £700. I got some stuff with the Xbox One X. I experienced it for 5 weeks. Yeah, it's a good system, but it's just a system that's not being taken advantage of. Microsoft are not. I don't know what they're doing. It's sad.
Yeah, it really is sad. And So, with that being said, I take it you have not tried State of Decay, because that was going to be my next question. But if you're
No, you know what? You're 51, right?
yes,
Okay, I was 35 last week. At our age, time is precious, bro. Even if the game is free, that's still my time being taken up. And I ain't gonna play a game. I ain't fitting to play no game that's buggy as hell. That's gonna keep freezing on me. I'm gonna have stutter, stutter, stutter like somebody can't speech impediment. With the graphics, like the frame rate. My time is precious, so I'm only dedicating my time to games I know that I'm going to see through to the end and enjoy. And I'm afraid State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves and probably Crackdown 3 just are not on that list.
yeah,
I'll give Crackdown 3 benefit of the doubt because it's not out yet. But from what I've seen, those games are incompatible with my time schedule. Because it's not about money. I can buy any game I want to buy. It's not about money. I'm not struggling. It's not about money. It's about time.
yeah, definitely. And Crackdown 3. I've said that before, giving my opinion on the Crackdown 3 situation. I think that the game is going to release it. I think Microsoft is, at some point, they're going to go ahead and release this game, regardless of what the state of the game is. If it's broken, they're going to go ahead and release it anyway. Because I think with their lack of exclusives and their reputation for canceling games and even closing down studios, if they were to cancel Crackdown 3, it would stick out like a sore thumb. So I think if they had a bunch of exclusives the way Sony does, and they were of the caliber of Sony's exclusives, I think they would have went ahead and canceled Crackdown 3 and shoved it out the back door without anyone knowing about it. And it just would have, it would have just came and went without anybody knowing about it. But because they don't have any exclusives, it's really going to stick out, if they cancel this game. So because of that, I think the game is probably going to release broken, but they're going to use Xbox preview, their preview whatever, um, as their crutch for releasing a broken game.
Yeah, I feel like Game Pass is Microsoft they I think because they've got Game Pass, they feel they can use releasing games in a state of like early access for full price, as a launch game. I think they use Game Pass as a crutch, like an excuse, like, well, you got access to all these games and we're only charging you $10 a month, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, you got to think about your reputation here. It doesn't matter if a game, even a free to play game, has to be good. Even a free to play game that you don't have to pay any money for has to be good to capture the public's attention these days. Because we gamers, and I can only talk about gamers like me, because not every gamer is like me, but people who've been playing games long enough to know that gaming is like a pastime that not everyone has the luxury of time to enjoy. Some people have a job, they have a family, they're married, they have to maintain their home, their vehicle, their lifestyle. Gaming, they're lucky if they get 2 hours a week, 4 hours a week to play games. So you got to be really selective with your gaming. Just because Microsoft release it, just because Sony's released it or Nintendo released it, doesn't mean you have to go out and buy it. Buy it because it's good. Don't support developers if games aren't good. Support the developers if the game is worthy. But some
Uh,
people would be buying games in the hope of getting a different game. Oh, I'm going to support this, even though I bought it 10 times already on 10 different past platforms. Rather, I own this game already and I played it so many times. I'm going to buy it again. I'm gonna dip on it because I'm hoping that they'll release a certain other game that the company has on that platform. I'm thinking that you're just encouraging developers to put out any rubbish because they know you'll buy it anyway, in the hope of them releasing some other game that you want.
yeah, that's almost like a mentality of going to a vending machine and you see a bag of salt and vinegar chips in front of you that tastes absolutely awful, but you go ahead and buy it just so you can get to the barbecue potato chips right behind it. Because you know how,
Exactly.
because with those vending machines, they always put the bullshit in the front to make you
Exactly.
pay for the bullshit so you can get to the good stuff in the back.
Right.
That seems where that logic would apply to what you just said. And myself, I also don't buy into this philosophy that if you haven't tried a game, you have no place to judge it. We all know that a State of Decay is a broken mess, and there is no way I'm going to pay for Game Pass or spend $30 on this game just so I can get confirmation that it's a broken game, and then I have a green light to go ahead and criticize this game. No, if you see videos and hearing a bunch of people talk about this game being a broken mess, and the general consensus is that the game is a broken mess, I think it's safe for you to go ahead and roll with that.
Exactly, exactly. But as I said so many times before, this game community, if it was more unified, I suppose the game community is like the world in general, isn't it? We're all fragmented. We're all divided on so many issues that it's almost impossible for us to come together and demand change and get real change. Because whilst people complain about loot boxes, I'm not supporting it. The likes of me, I say it all the time. The likes of service-based games and the apparent death of the single player. Um, whilst you got people like me and possibly you and others who won't support those games that damage what we're used to, damage the norm. You got people out there spending money on loot boxes and pointless DLC and just making these developers so rich that when they release their figures, you see that they've made more money on in-game purchases and microtransactions than the actual game itself. So who can blame these companies for trying to make more money that way? But it's the people who are encouraging it. We all have to say gaming's not going the right way. This is wrong. Let's not support a certain business model, a service model. Let's not support it collectively. And it will go away, but it will never go away because we're too fragmented.
No, and I hate to say it, I think this generation is so so focused on trying to take the short path to victory that they don't have a problem paying for microtransactions in order to get a competitive edge. And because of that kind of stuff, microtransactions are probably never going to go away.
Exactly. Exactly. But look, at the end of the day, I know what I like. I know what I'm going to stick to. Before Detroit Become Human even received its first review score, I knew I was going to buy it and I knew I was going to enjoy it because I know what to expect from those games. I'm not going in blind. I don't buy, I've never purchased a terrible game. I might have bought a game that disappointed me, but I still enjoyed the story, but it might have disappointed me in other aspects. But I've never purchased a dud game because my time is precious. And not only that, why are you throwing good money away after rubbish for? It's like if you go in the street. My nan used to say, bless her, before she passed away. My nan used to always tell me about girlfriends. Like I used to pick up all these different girlfriends, and my nan didn't like it. She used to say, you need to find a good girl because when you walk the street and you step in shit, you're gonna bring it home and rub it all in my carpet.
I like that. So, I only have a couple of more questions, but the next question is, what do you think will happen if Microsoft has a good E3, and what do you think will happen if they have a bad one?
Well, you know what? Microsoft have a habit of hyping things up and then disappointing people. They said that at Gamescom, Aaron Greenberg said that Gamescom was going to be amazing, and it was just a sit down. To be honest, it was more like a job interview. It was like watching a job interview. Oh, these are the games that I have done before. Here's my portfolio. It's like I was so bored. Um, and then talking about it's going to be 2 hours long. I mean, what are they going to do for 2 hours? What are they going to talk about for 2 hours? That's what I'm interested in. If they knock it out of the park, and I hope they do turn it around. When will those games come out? I mean, anything they show that's new is way off. Phil Spencer said last year that games are way off. He said that for a reason. So whatever they show is going to excite people, but you're going to be left hanging for a long time, possibly until way after PS5 has launched. Before those games come out, if they're new games and they just show CGI at E3, You will have PS5 before you see those games on any Xbox platform. And for 2 hours, I don't want to see Sea of Thieves content. Don't show me 20 minutes of Sea of Thieves content. Not interested. You had your time, you messed up. Let's see some new stuff. Don't tell me about what you're going to do to fix State of Decay 2. Do that in the background. I don't want to hear about new stuff. But sadly, I feel like Microsoft are going to spend some time on Sea of Thieves because this is their service game. They want this game to make them money long term. So they're going to use this game at E3 again.
Without a doubt, um, I definitely believe that. And I was telling people because I went live a couple hours ago, and when I heard that Microsoft their E3 is supposed to be 2 hours long, and I was asked my opinion of it, I was basically, I basically said, hey, well, if they got 2 hours worth of content, then I'll judge it after I see the 2 hours worth of content. But if they only have 45 minutes worth of content, I think for the next hour and 15 minutes, you're going to see them talking about controllers. You're going to see them talking about silly ass stats about how many pigs got chased in Sea of Thieves and how many zombies were killed in State of Decay 2. You're going to see them bring developers from, some very small studios on and talk to them for an unnecessary amount of time. So I think basically what's going to happen is if they only have 45 minutes worth of content to show for a 2 hour E3, I think for that extra hour and 15 minutes, you're either going to see something that looks like another lame edition of Inside Xbox or something that looks like a board meeting.
Lincoln, if Nintendo's rumored 30-minute E3 presentation is action packed and exciting and better than Microsoft's 2 hour presentation, Microsoft's going to have problems in the press because the press will ask this question: how is it that Nintendo can drum up more excitement in 30 minutes than you could in 2 hours?
That I couldn't have put it any better way. That is a marvelous way of stating it. But one thing is for certain, I will be glad when E3 is finally done and over with. So, so the dust can settle and we can see what the landscape looks like. Because I've really got tired of that narrative about wait till E3.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to go away. You're going to be hearing that until 2028.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
So
like future. You get that. That should one of the androids in Detroit Become Human should have said, "Wait till E3." That would have made me laugh.
absolutely. Um, Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I only have one more question, and then from there, uh,
Just one.
yeah, well, I only have one more scripted question. After I get done with that question, it's up to you if you want to freestyle it, take questions from the audience, or if you want to wrap it up. The ball's in your court after I ask you this last question.
Okay.
So there's been a big uproar about a woman being in Battlefield 5. What's your thoughts on that?
It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. These insecure boys. They're not even men. It's that's a boy. That's a boy's problem. That's not a man's problem. That's a boy's problem. Men have no issue. Real men have no issue with a woman being on the front of a battlefield cover because they are secure in themselves. They don't feel threatened. They're secure. Only little boys will have a problem with a female being the lead character in a game or on the cover. What difference does that make?
I definitely agree with that. And then in my earlier podcast, I had said that uh, if you played Uncharted Lost Legacy and you like that game, then you shouldn't have a problem with this game right here with a woman having a lead role or a significant part of the game. I don't have a problem with it, and my take on it is, as far as the multiplayer part of it, if this woman is one of the playable characters in the multiplayer part of it, I'll blow her head off just like I'll blow everybody else's head off with that sniper rifle because I'm pretty good with a sniper rifle.
I'm surprised as well, actually, that men are concerned that women are on the cover. I mean, women are fantastic to look at. What's the problem? When I'm
Yeah,
playing video games, especially games in the third person, I always choose a female character because I'd rather see the back of a woman than the back of a man.
That's a good point because I'm not gonna lie, not putting that out there like that, but Chloe had a nice ass on Uncharted Lost Legacy. Um,
Well, let's say it was well modeled.
yeah,
They put a lot of effort into the polygon count. Must be millions of polygons to make that bottom so
mm.
firm and well. How can I put it? Carved, carved out well.
Said Clay don't want the coke smoke. While we're talking about models and pixels of females being in games, have you did you ever see a picture? They showed the backside of the model, the female model that was used for the Last of Us 2, that muscular girl that was in Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
I have you seen the actual picture of the actual woman they used for the mocaps?
No, I haven't.
She was built just like that. They showed her from the back. She was wearing like basically like a very tight tank top and yoga pants. And oh my god, that behind,
Wow.
oh that shit looked like a round ass pumpkin. I wanted to take her home.
Wow. Look, I appreciate, being a man, I appreciate the female form, the form of a woman. So I have no issue seeing attractive women on any cover of anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, So that was my last question. So I mean, if you got something that you want to talk about, I'm all ears. Or if you want to take questions from the chat, that would be great too.
Yeah, you know what? I think it'd be good to take questions from the chat, actually. That would
Okay,
be good. Yeah.
okay, audience. So it's your floor for the time being. So any questions you have for Foxy Games UK, feel free to shoot. We got one from Savage Uger. He wants to know how your back is doing.
Thank you for asking. It's a long recovery process. I don't know if people know, but I've had two operations on my spine. Um, because I somehow managed to damage the discs in my back somehow. I don't know. I've had accidents in my life, but I don't know if that was the cause. I've been in car crashes and stuff before, and you know, so I don't know where it came from. But yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, it's a long process. The operation was January. The second operation was January this year, and I was told it's a long healing process. I mean, I'm still moving around. I'm out and about. I don't want people to think that I'm like an invalid in my home and I can't do anything for myself because I'm out there, just living my life as normal. It's just I have to be more careful than other people with how I handle my body. So I don't really take risks lifting heavy stuff and things like that. But yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Okay, and so I assume that you probably can't make any like sudden movements.
No, I
Um,
can. No, it's not that bad. No. It's not that bad. I mean, after the operation, say between January and March, that probably would be applicable to my condition. Yeah, sudden movements and stuff. But now I can bend. I can do what normal people do. It's just I wake up and go to bed with pain because I'm still healing. Like where they cut me up at the back, I've got loads of scars, like where they open me up at the lower point of my back, okay, just above the buttock area. I can still feel that. I can still feel the tissue damage. When you touch it, you can feel it. If you push the
oh,
skin in, you can feel where it's healing. Where the tissue damage is healing back. So it's gonna take like a year. So by January, I should be perfectly normal. And I've got physio coming up as well. But I don't want people to think, oh, I can't do nothing. I can still fuck. I can do what I want. Yeah. Yeah. So don't, it's not like I'm incapable of anything. It's just don't ask me to carry a wardrobe or help you lift a washing machine, you know, out of your house. I won't be doing that stuff for a while.
okay. I'm looking at N4G right now. Let me see here. Here's a question from Silver Sky. Do you think Sucker Punch will improve their animations for Ghosts? over that lack of animations in Infamous. Will Ghost be violent? Like limb separation.
Yeah, I think the animation is going to be much more improved. I think the animation for Infamous Second Son suited the game because let's be honest, you spent a lot of time zapping your way around that game world, didn't you? So it didn't make sense to have a normal walking movement or a perfectly animated running movement due to the nature of how many obstacles you were meant to get over and how quickly you're meant to get to the other side of the map. And it's a very caricature, I can't even say it, caricature. Oh man, sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm
Hmm.
tongue tied. My bad. But it's a caricature of a game, right?
Hmm.
Like whereas it's very cartoonish. It's not cell shaded, that type of cartoon, but it's based on real human characters, but it's still a cartoony element to the whole game. So I saw it as an arcade open world type experience.
Yeah, I have Infamous Second Son. Unfortunately, I put minimal time into that game because I was already caught up in something else. But it was just one of those things where I had caught it at the flash sale, where I think I caught the game for about $7, and it was a game. I have the PlayStation Pro, and it's so Infamous Second Son was another game that was PS4 Pro enhanced. So that's basically what I was trying to do is catch some of these games that's been Pro enhanced, catch them at that flash sale, and build up a backlog. So I don't even think I'll finish my backlog before the next generation starts. I have so many games.
I platinum that game by accident. That I think that
Really?
was yeah, that was my very first platinum on PS4. Infamous Second Son. I did it completely by accident. I enjoyed the game so much. I did absolutely everything without even looking at the trophy list
Hmm.
because I'm not really a trophy hunter. Honestly, I've got 13 platinums and I didn't try to get them. I got most of them because I finished the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
I don't have a single platinum, and I've looked at people's profiles like Sick Humor, which I believe he has like 200 and something platinums. This man lives for platinums.
oh, not me. I ain't got the time. I'll be honest with you, I haven't got time to chase platinums. But with Infamous Second Son, I got the final trophy that got me the platinum by accident. I actually fell off a building, went through some kind of chute that takes you into another building, and I did it like 3 or 4 times in sequence, and it unlocked a trophy. I didn't even mean to do it. I was just trying to not stay on the ground. I was just trying to stay afloat, like, and build up my powers so I could fly up into the air as high as I could to finish a mission. And it unlocked a trophy. Next thing you know, when I got to the end of the game, a platinum came up, and I went, "Wow, that's unexpected." I didn't even know what I did to get it. I had to go and look back and see what could I have done to get the platinum. And I found that the hardest thing to get the platinum was that you had to go through all these things, shoots, like without touching the ground. But I did that on accident. I didn't even know that would get you a platinum because I wasn't interested. I don't look at the trophy list on any game ever.
Uh huh.
I don't ever look. I'm not interested.
Hmm. We do have a question from Ryan Landis for Foxy Games UK. He wants to know: do you think the PS5 controller will change much from the current one? And is there anything you'd like to see changed?
Yeah, there will be changes. For a start, there won't be a touchpad. There won't be an internal speaker built into it. The button positioning is going to change. It's still going to be based on DualShock, but it's going to be its own DualShock. Although I will tell everyone now, all of your PS4 accessories will work on PS5. Don't worry about it.
Myself, the touchpad, that's here nor there. If they keep it, I'm fine with it. If they get rid of it, I'm fine with that. The internal speaker, I really did like that, but it's really unfortunate that they did not take advantage of that. Because I think at the beginning of the generation, it added a element of immersion. I really did like it.
I liked it as a novelty for a couple of games when I first got the PS4, but then it started to annoy me, like especially at nighttime when I'm playing in a very quiet environment. It's just me in the living room. You know, my then girlfriend would be in bed waiting. Well, not waiting, but she's in bed. Um, and I'm playing a video game for an hour before I join her. And, I'm having a quiet moment. And then next thing you know, a big loud noise comes from my controller. So it's usually radio chatter or something that's coming through the speaker, right? That's from the game, and it's so loud that it's just annoying. So what I've done now is I've gone into the main system options of the PS4, and I have literally forced the function off. So no matter what game, no, the speaker will not have any activity because I loathe it. I can't stand it. If it was never there, I wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't miss it.
Fair enough. I mean, if they took it out, I wouldn't be upset, but I still do like it.
They will add.
Fatal Mephisto,
Sorry.
the Canadian grizzly bear. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, how you doing, Bear Hugger?
He's got a bunch of names: bear hugger, milk bag. And I call him the Canadian grizzly bear.
I can't. Bear Hugger's ingrained in my head now. It's like I've been programmed by one of them androids. I can't seem to call him Fatal, whatever it is, Mephisto. Yeah, I can't call him that. It has to be Bear Hugger. If he insisted, actually, shout out Bear. If he insisted that I either call him by Fatal all the time or we can't be friends anymore, I don't think we'd be friends anymore because I don't think. No, do you know? Only reason why is I don't think I could change my programming. It's stuck now. It's engaged. It's ingrained into my head. It will be so difficult. It's like when you get used to someone's name and then suddenly they say, "No, I want to be called but this now." It's like Prince. I could never call him the sign. I have to call you Prince. I know you as Prince all my life as an artist. Now you want to be known as the sign. I'm sorry, Prince.
Yeah, no
Rest in
doubt
peace.
about that. Eric Arazo, what is going on, my friend? How you doing? Let me see. I mean, if anyone else has any questions, now's the time to shoot.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
ask me anything. AMA, come on, bring it.
and so I'm looking at N4G, and couple of headlines caught my eye. One is Battlefield 1943 can be played on the Xbox One, which sounds like some more backwards compatibility shit. Um, it sounds like another game that they're featuring on a $500 console from a previous generation.
Well, look, we all know that 68 Metacritic is the new 88, and we all know that Black Panther is exclusive to Xbox UHD Blu-ray. You can't play that anywhere but on an Xbox. So obviously it's exclusive. It don't matter if you have a UHD Blu-ray player because it's exclusive to Xbox. It doesn't. It's just gonna when you enter that disc into your standard Sony or Samsung Blu-ray UHD player, it's gonna say this is incompatible. Sorry, you need an Xbox One S or X to play this Blu-ray. Yeah, we all know that's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's the other thing about it? Crackdown. I think I read today something from some. I like this guy, but he is a bit of an idiot. I'm not going to name him. I think maybe they'll know who it is from this tweet. I do like him though, but he is a damn idiot though. He said that people comparing State of Decay 2 to until not until dawn to Detroit Become Human is you're comparing a game that's still buggy that needs work with more add-ons to come to an interactive movie.
What?
I guess somebody needs a win in their life, and I'm like, wow. You mean, oh man, that's just it's such a juvenile comment to make.
Definitely. We have another question from Silver Sky 545. He wants to know Days Gone, will they add animations because he feels it definitely needs it.
Sorry, say that again.
Silver Sky, his question is about the game Days Gone. He wants to know if they will add animations.
Ah. Oh yeah, as I said, not every game Sony's going to release is going to be astounding. They can't. Not everything is going to be a hit. Not everything can hit. It's just not possible. The law of averages say they got to release some games that aren't as great. That don't quite aspire to greatness. Days Gone could very well be that game. Or with a year's more development in the bag, they might actually turn it around and surprise a lot of people. We just have to see. I'm not prepared to judge Days Gone until it's in the hands of the gamers or at least reviewers. Multiple reviewers have put their opinion out on the game, like the review embargo is up, because we shouldn't be judging games before they're finished. At least with Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2, we've seen the final article, so we can form our opinions. but you can't form an opinion on Days Gone. Like you can't really form an opinion on Crackdown 3 yet. Crackdown
Uh,
3 could come out and blow us away. You know, I am optimistic, but if it comes out as trash as the other games that have come out on that platform, it wouldn't surprise me either. But I don't want. I'm not one. I'm not a gamer that is looking for failure. I want Microsoft to succeed. I want their games to be as good as the best that Sony and Nintendo have to offer. I'm not someone who's longing for Microsoft's failure. I want them to succeed. So, unfortunately, it's an uphill struggle, but I do want to see Microsoft turn this around because I'm not against Xbox. I'm against these foolish decisions that they've made this generation. They did well with Xbox 360. This generation is an absolute disgrace. And as
yeah,
someone who's invested in the platform, invested in the games, supported them for the 18 years that they've been around, I've bought every console, multiple iterations of some of those consoles. I've bought games on every platform, accessories. I've spent thousands upon tens of thousands of pounds on Xbox, the product itself. So
wow,
I'm not here. I don't want it to fail because I'm a gamer. So if I do criticize, it's because it needs to be criticized, not because it's
absolutely.
fun. I don't do it for fun. It's exhausting having to criticize Microsoft. I get, that's negative. It drains me. I
You
take
got that
no
right.
joy or pleasure. Okay, I get no joy or pleasure.
You got that right. Even in my podcast, even if I don't start the conversation about Microsoft, someone else will. It just cannot be escaped. It's always going to come up. It's
Everyone
just
should. We
it's
should
just
all have a conversation about Microsoft. You know who should have a conversation about Microsoft the most? The hardcore Xbox community. They should be as vocal as everyone else because of their silence, I have to talk. Because if they don't talk, I will.
definitely. We've got a couple of questions. The one is from Gunru Gaming. He wants to know, do you own a Nintendo Switch?
Do I own a Nintendo Switch?
Yes. Do you have a
Yeah,
Nintendo
yeah.
Switch?
I've had one since launch day because somebody very kind in the game community, a friend of mine, J-Dub City 16, aka Kratos. Shout out to that guy. He's such a giving person. He must live a very satisfying life because he likes to make other people happy. I know a lot of people see him as some kind of antagonizer on Twitter because he takes the piss out of a lot of these Xbox and Microsoft's decisions and games and lack of taking advantage of the hardware, I guess, with the Xbox One X. Yeah, he does a lot of that, but that's because it's all true. He just
Mhm.
delivers it in a comical, trollish manner. If you can't handle it, Twitter is not the place for you. You really shouldn't be on Twitter. If you cannot handle counter arguments or opinion, you shouldn't be on Twitter. It's the wrong place. It's not conducive to your brain. It's actually probably going to depress you and make you ill. So you should stay away from Twitter if you are a person who is easily triggered, because Twitter is at times a cesspit, at times a wonderful place to be, a bully playground, and a place of solace. It depends on your perspective and your experience.
Hmm. Without a doubt. And we also have a question from Ryan Landis. Uh, and he says, do you believe any of these recent rumors about a PlayStation Vita 2?
No, but I do believe John Kadira is. I think he's like a fan of portable gaming. I think that he has a very different view to Andrew House. When he took Andrew House's position as president um, of PlayStation America, he he came in with a view that he's very pro portable. So I can see a new PlayStation portable something device. Whether I don't think it's going to be called a PlayStation Vita 2 though. I think they're going to stay away from the Vita name like the plague. I think they want to remove themselves from that name for their next portable because it didn't sell well. It was under supported. There's too much negative connotations to that hardware. So they're going to come out maybe with maybe they could call it the PSP2. I think they'd be best served calling it PlayStation Portable Deluxe, or maybe resurrect that name or give it a totally new name. I don't think they should call it the Vita 2.
I agree. Uh, Gunru Gaming. I do not know what happened. I did not remove you as a moderator, so I don't know how you lost that wrench, but I gave it back to you. So hopefully, the next comment you make in the stream, I'll see that wrench back on your name.
Can you address this uncompetitive individual? I see he's being quite vocal in the chat about me.
Yes, he is, and I've made it a point not to say anything about it because
Or maybe we can
uh,
have some reconciliation. It might be a good idea. Depending on how this person interacts with me right now, there's a possibility of reconciliation.
okay, so well, basically, he's looking for an apology for, I guess he says you insulted him in an earlier stream, and my thinking was that I have no knowledge of that, and
Neither
that
do
was
I.
something that's
You'd have
something
to
that.
remind me. I insult people every day. I
Mhm.
mean, don't take it personally. You're just one of many people that get insulted by me every day. I insult people if they need to be insulted, but you have to remind me of the insult. Just let me know what I said, and if I feel like it was, I'm in a much better mood today. Maybe I might reflect and, retrospectively, apologize to you. You never know; you might get an apology, but you'll have to remind me because I can't recall what this is about.
Right. And see, and again, whatever that issue was, if there was an issue, it was between you and between him on your podcast. And so I wouldn't go to someone else's podcast uh and
I know it's
bring to light a subject that happened
yeah.
between me and someone else
It is
somewhere else.
disrespectful. It is disrespectful to you, but unfortunately, he's. I guess he started the ball rolling now, hasn't he?
Yeah, it looks like he's
Because
been pretty
he won't let
persistent
it
about
go.
that.
He won't let it go. So you
Well,
know,
I would have addressed it in my next podcast, but this is the Lincoln show, not the apologetic show. So, and again, I felt like my thinking was that I was going to tell him in the next stream that whatever happened between him and Foxy is between him and Foxy, and that's something that you should address Foxy on in his next podcast.
yeah, I agree. And let me just say this: I'm not here to make enemies. Oh
So
wow! Oh
yeah,
wow!
I'm seeing that
Wow! Is
myself.
that it? Hold on. Is that the insult? That is such a minor issue that I can't apologize for that. Because that makes your if you are offended by being called anal, then you are certainly a snowflake. I'm sorry, I can't offer you the apology. I have to decline. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it wasn't that serious. I thought it was more serious than this. I mean, Melina Jurgens. Uh, does it matter? None of this matters.
Yeah, no,
Let's
and
let's move on. Let's move
yeah,
on. Let's move
exactly,
on.
exactly. That is something that happened somewhere else, and that is where it needs to be resolved, and not here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on.
Absolutely. So let me see. What else can we talk about? Fortnite breaks another record, generating 296 million in April across all platforms.
Um, Oh, this uncompetitive chap is very distracting. Is there any way you can he be muted or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's difficult. I'm looking at the chat, but all I see is this guy.
yeah,
Listen.
uncompetitive.
Let me
I will
just give
have
you
to.
this.
I'll have to ask you to.
No, let me give him this. I won't apologize. I won't apologize, but we can shake hands now, and whether you want to resubscribe or not is entirely up to you. If you don't resubscribe, I won't lose any sleep. So, but we can move on from this, please. Ask me another question. Let's be friends. Ask me a different question. Let's
Okay.
start again.
Never mind. He just said he'll have to subscribe from me, which is fine. So I think I can remove the wrench from you.
It's very childish, isn't it?
Yes,
Very childish. Very
exactly.
immature. Very immature.
We're
It's
all
not that
grown.
serious. It's not that serious, dude. I mean, there are real things happening in this world affecting lots of people. So
Exactly.
this is not that serious.
Yeah, that's definitely disappointing. We're all grown here, and then in this YouTube day and age, you definitely have to have thick skin, whether you are a viewer or whether you are a content creator. I'm really disappointed in that you feel that way, but I do not think that my show was the place for you to bring your personal issues to and demand an apology to. If you felt this way about the situation with Foxy and you've been feeling that way for quite a while, that's something that you should have went to his channel a long time ago and spoke to him about it instead of coming to my platform and bringing a totally different issue to. That's really
As,
disappointed.
as the as the English would say, Uri has made it rather awkward, hasn't he?
He really did. Uh, I felt like you bringing your personal issue with Foxy to my
Disrespectful.
channel was disrespectful, and I felt like it put me in a compromising position. And I,
Exactly.
that's really disappointing.
Very sad. And it was over such a trivial matter as well. Trivial. The way this guy was carrying on, I thought I'd insulted his mother or something.
I have no idea what it is. I mean, uh, you, you know,
Shout out to
my
all the
thinking
mothers,
is
by the way.
I'll give you a prime example. Crap Gamer. One time he made a video about Sea of Thieves. He claims that the PlayStation community started a petition to try to have Sea of Thieves brought to the PlayStation. And I said, and I went to his channel and I commented. I said, dude, stop it.
It wouldn't do
No,
well on PlayStation.
right, but still knowing how he is with his clickbait style, I wouldn't have been surprised if he would have had a very bad, response. So I made that comment with the possible expectations that his return comment may be less than friendly. That's just the way it is in these YouTube streets.
Yeah, you don't often hear that guy's name coming out of my mouth. Actually, I find that level of YouTube is deplorable,
Mm-hmm.
and I object. I've been compared to that guy. Apparently I'm the PlayStation version of him, but I object. I object. I object to that because that's insulting. Actually,
One second, Foxy.
Tomorrow I work 1 to 10. So if we meet tomorrow,
No, I was actually planning on keeping him Sunday if it's all right. We already
that's
talked
fine.
about it.
Yeah, that's
We already
fine.
talked about it. So he said he wants to say Sunday night as well.
That's fine. And then Monday I work 1 to 10. So can we meet before I go to work?
Yeah.
Okay. Have fun, okay?
All right, come on in, partner.
See you later, sweetheart.
Yep. Ouch! You got my toe.
kids,
Okay,
gotta love,
I'm back, Foxy. Thank you for your patience.
gotta love the kids, man.
Absolutely. He is my pride and joy. He is my mini me. He looks just like me. And he wants to become a content creator in a couple of years himself.
Wow. Let's hope they sort out the demonetization issue by the time he gets on it.
Mm-hmm. Once I'm done with this podcast, yes, you can. In the meantime, if you want to play Roblox, go in the bedroom and play on my Xbox in there. Not while I'm in the middle of this podcast. So either wait till I'm done with this podcast or go ahead and play on my Xbox. I don't know. I can't put a time frame on it. So, but we are nearing the end of it. That's about what I can tell you.
Near the end?
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Had to be a father right in the middle of a podcast.
You know what? I love that because that shows how the real side of you, how real you are.
Definitely. I really appreciate that. DJ Almighty, the Spartan God, you have a question for me? So I was preoccupied with my son because he just arrived. But go ahead, shoot your question. I can't promise that I'll answer it if I find a question intrusive, but go ahead. So I hear you listening to a lot of rap, in the background. Foxy, is rap pretty big over in the UK?
Oh yeah, rap's big here, man. We got our own rap as well, Our UK rap is really big. I mean, I've seen a lot of YouTubers from America covering British rap, and they love the flow. They love because it's very lyrical here. We don't have the same type of we kind of have the same experience as you guys, but yours is on a different level to ours. Like we don't have quite the gun problem that you have. So the rappers here, very few of them can talk about the type of lifestyle that you guys really lived. So they talk about the reality of other people's lifestyle that are living that life or about that life, or they rap about the politics of the country. But I'd say the UK rappers here are more political than they are romanticizing materialism. Like I see a lot of rap in the US. Sadly, it's gone from conscious rap, to how much money I've got and how I can take a girl and all that bullshit. That kind of rap doesn't appeal to me. I don't, people are just boasting about their lifestyle in their raps. I don't give a damn. That doesn't really benefit me. I like rappers like Mos Steph and Talib Kweli. I like old school rappers. They talk about the origins and the roots and where we are today and how people need to like live better and positive rap. Not I'm not when I say positive rap, I don't mean Will Smith. I'm talking about conscious rap.
Yeah, definitely. The rapper Slick Rick. I did not know he was British.
Who?
Slick Rick. The child story.
Well,
Um,
he may have been born in this country, but he's certainly American.
he has a British accent. Now he came out with a song called "Child Story,"
Children's story.
about
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
children's
But
story, children's story. He came out with that song. I want to say about 30 years ago, and in that song he had an English accent in that song. So I thought when I first heard that song, I thought it was just a character that he was trying to put on. But
no, no, that was a character. No one in the UK talks like how he was rapping. That's a caricature of how British people talk. British people, no one talks like that.
oh well,
Oh,
I
no,
saw
no
an
one
interview
talks.
with him.
No one talks like, oh, I was walking down the street, I want to see this girl. No one says that. Oh,
No,
how was see you later? No one does.
I'm talking about in terms of the accent. He had an English accent, and so that's what I thought was his character was. I thought he was putting on that accent, as a different angle. But
No, he was. He was doing like a butler's accent, like how a butler would talk to the, like the Queen's butler.
yeah, and I saw
Posh.
him in the interview, and he had that accent during the interview. So
Well,
I was like,
it might be some that might be part of his character though, isn't it? It's like when you hear Flavor Flav talk. Like Flavor Flav doesn't really talk like that. That's his character. So he always carries on like that in public. So you never hear him talking like his real self. Because this is a character he's presenting to the public. It's like Mr. T. Mr. T isn't really Mr. T. He's got a name he was born with, a government name, and he has a totally different personality. But that's his persona for his character, Mr. T. You know, the thing is, some people they get lost in their character, don't they? So they become that character and they lose their original self. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some people they play a character for so long they forget who they were.
yeah, no doubt about that.
I just love positive. Don't get me wrong. I still listen to my gully grime music. I love my D Block, Jadakiss, Styles P. I love all them guys. But they're still talking about reality.
Well, the internet it makes things a lot different. But when I was a kid, before there was a such thing as the internet, most music would either start from the West Coast, it would make its way over to the East Coast. So by the time I would hear a song here in Michigan, it's already been out in California for about 2 weeks.
It depends though, because rap music was invented in the East Coast,
Right.
right? So that is the godfather of rap. It began in the East Coast, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
where it began, and it really came to prominence through gangster rap. Do you
Yeah,
understand what I'm saying?
definitely.
Like the late 80s, early 90s, it started to turn into gangster rap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's when I'd say the West Coast came to prominence and put themselves on the map. It was like when Dr. Dre and Snoop and NWA and all those people were out. You know what I'm saying? But before them people, you had Sugar Hill Gang. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not but even Sugar Hill Gang aren't the originators of rap. They might
No,
have had the first commercial hit, but they are not the godfathers of rap music.
no. I think as far as having commercial success, maybe groups like the Soul Sonic Force might be one of the first.
Well, Fab Five Freddy, them man, they. You look. Let me tell you something, right? Even Blondie, you know who Blondie is? The singer Blondie, the group Blondie.
Yeah,
Right. She rapped in the 70s. She was rapping in one of her songs. I think it's called, is it
yeah,
Rapture
yeah,
or
yeah. The
is
song's
it called
called
Rapture?
Rapture. It's
It's
called
called
Rapture.
Rapture. And it was
In
produced by Five Finger Freddy and them guys there from that collective, right?
I don't know because
It was.
she's primarily a rap singer. So when she came out with that song
No,
Rapture,
no, no,
it was
no, no. Blondie's not a rap singer.
no. She's a rock singer, not
Yeah,
rap.
rock,
You
yeah,
know,
rock, yeah.
normally sings rock and roll. So
Yeah,
when
for that.
they came out with that song Rapture, it seemed a little out of place to me.
No, but
Um,
it was produced by hip hop producers. That's why.
that I did not know because that's the stuff they don't tell you here in
Her
America. A
rap
lot
was
of
written. Her rap was written for her.
that's interesting. I still like that song, and then
Yeah, the
I
ghostwriter. Before Drake, there were ghostwriters.
mm-hmm.
Before Drake had these ghostwriters, they were ghostwriters from the 70s because Blondie couldn't sit down and write a rap tune. Someone have to she'd either collaborate and work on it with someone, but someone would have to be the vehicle to get that rap on that track. And but it just shows you how rap music has been around long before, some of these millennials have grown up into rap. That their rap is like this modern materialistic rap. That's not for me. That's you know there was a time when hip hop as a culture and rap were intertwined, but rap nowadays in some corners and pockets of the industry seems to have separated itself from hip hop and has become something else, something I don't recognize.
Yeah, definitely. And while we were talking about that song Rapture, do you remember the game DJ Hero?
Oh man, this guy in your comment section. Oh man.
Which uh
Oh dude. I wish I could ignore it, but I have to look at the chat for this interview, right?
yeah, look. So I'm going to put it like this. Um I don't know how many people in this chat have had a situation with Foxy, but this is not the place to look for resolution because that's put me in the center of it and putting me in a compromising position.
Blondie
You
wasn't.
know,
Sorry.
he is a guest on my show, so I'm definitely not going to sit up here and say, "Oh, you owe these people an apology for something that you believed happened way before I came into the fold." So
I don't
please
even know
restrain
why.
for those
I
kind of
don't.
comments.
I don't even know why this is supposed to be an interview. I don't even know why this has come up as an issue. But just to answer a question in your chat, don't call me Danny. Shout out. I thought Blondie was disco. Blondie was actually punk. She was in the punk era, so it wasn't disco. It was more punk. And Pusha T. Yeah, I know about the Duppy song. Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I heard it. Yeah.
No doubt about that. Mm. So yeah, about Blondie, yeah, I pretty much had saw her as punk, punk rock. Oh, I was going to say about the game DJ Hero. The Beastie Boys had like on that game on DJ Hero, there was they took Ron Blondie's Rapture song and put a rap on there, and you were having to scratch that song, and that was the only song that I really played on DJ Hero.
Yes, that Blondie. I've got her greatest hits. I'd say her. Blondie's the group. Deborah Harry was the lead singer, but when I think of Blondie, I just think of Deborah Harry because she's the most visible in the group to me, and she was damn attractive in her day as well. She looked a bit like Michelle Pfeiffer did. Michelle Pfeiffer was attractive too. But yeah, just for Silver Sky 545, Foxy is a dick for not addressing my John Wick question.
I just
I'm
deleted it.
sorry. I'm
Uh,
sorry. I don't know. I've never seen a John Wick movie. Shame on me. So I don't know how to. I can't. I don't know how to answer the question.
Not only that, I deleted that message, and if myself or Foxy does not answer your question, do not take it that we just ignored it. We probably did not see it. So please refrain from this kind of behavior, people.
I'm sorry that I brought this heat to your channel. I didn't expect this.
No, 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 no. I think
I thought people loved me like I love them. I just
uh, myself, this is the first time I've run across this. I think that as my channel is starting to grow, I'm starting to gain some questionable viewers. Um,
don't take it personal. I'm here crying. I'm crying my eyes out
so
right now. Don't worry.
myself, I'm severely disappointed that this kind of behavior came up in this. Okay, Silver Sky, blame me. Especially if you're going to put a laugh behind it. I can live with that.
Now I know John Wick's a good movie, but I just haven't gotten around to watching them yet. I kind of went off Keanu Reeves for a while after The Matrix 3. I kind of didn't want to see much of his work anymore for a while.
uh, I haven't watched. I don't really watch that many movies. Although I watched Black Panther 98 times.
Oh, Black Panthers. That's actually, if it wasn't, I'm gonna give Xbox some credit here. If it wasn't for Xbox, I wouldn't have been able to see Black Panther yet because it came out on Kodi before it came out on Blu-ray.
Oh,
Because when it was in the cinema, I was in hospital healing from my operation.
um, yeah, I was aware of Black Panther being on the torrent sites. Um, which I have a 1080p copy of it, but I don't know. My son he's mentioned wanting to see a 4K version of the movie, being that he has an Xbox One X and appears to want to put his 4K player to a little bit of use.
Well, the Xbox One X is a fantastic piece of kit. It's capable of far more than the PS4 Pro, but Sony have shown that, and Nintendo to some degree have shown that power means nothing if you don't have the talented studios to back it up. I mean, what's the point in having a really powerful, fast race car if you have no driver of discernible skill to enter the race with the car? Car's gonna lose come third, fourth because the car's good, but the driver is unskilled.
Definitely, and that speaks to the level of talent that Microsoft has under its umbrella.
They got wonderful hardware, but their studios are just not on the level of Sony nor Nintendo, and that's the problem. And I feel like it's Microsoft's fault because I feel like if the coalition guys and girls, and I feel like if 343 were allowed to make other projects as well as Halo, as well as Gears, if Turn 10 was allowed to make a different type of game as well as do Forza, I feel like it would satisfy the fans. But Microsoft have these big studios dedicated to just one game throughout the whole generation, one IP. That is just, oh, come on, man. Let them breathe. Let them stretch their wings.
Exactly. Ryan Landis says he doesn't watch Black Panther on Xbox because there's no jump button. He's referring to some of the criticism that the Xbox tried to level against God of War before the game came out, trying to point out that there was no jump button. So they will try to come out with some pre-made excuses, for wanting the game to fail.
It's just a shame. I mean, we're all gamers, aren't we? It doesn't matter if you prefer Xbox, if you prefer PlayStation or Nintendo. At the end of the day, we have one thing in common that unites us all, and that's the love of gaming. So for the life of me, I don't see why people take it so seriously. So what? People are trolling on Twitter. So what? Why? I had today, I made a tweet today about the idiocy of some of the Xbox out there, talking about 68 is a new 88 on Metacritic and crap like that. And then I said, some of the most dumbest comments come from these Xbox. And then someone replied saying, well, some of the dumbest comments come from people who can't ignore those comments. And then I replied, well, here you are replying to me about me replying to them. That makes you the biggest hypocrite on the planet, basically. Because you're telling me to ignore it, but you can't ignore my tweet. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You want me to ignore anything negative about Xbox, but you can't ignore my opinion. That doesn't make sense to me. So you're trying to police people on Twitter then. Any bad news that you don't like, and it might not even be about you. You might be criticizing a completely different person in that community, but they all take it personally as if you're talking about them. Because you know what? You are talking about them because I believe it's a hive over there. I believe there is a pocket of the Xbox community that they are all hive type, sheep people. They all have the same mentality. They all are in the same swamp. Let's drain the swamp.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and so with that being said, I'm basically waiting to see what they are going to have to say about Detroit Become Human because so far I haven't really heard a lot coming from the Xbox. I mean, they were pretty loud, when God of War launched, but I haven't heard near as much noise from them for Detroit as I did for God of War.
I think God of War's. I think Detroit's gonna do well. It might not do. It might not do God of War figures because let's be honest, it's a niche title. But the story in that game. I believe every human being should see the story or play it. Even if you don't buy the game, look at it. If you don't own a PlayStation, I still think you should see the story. Maybe look at a playthrough on YouTube or something, because it makes you think about how we treat each other as human beings. It's a deep story. The story is less about androids. It's actually more about us as human beings and how we interact with each other, how we perceive each other, how we marginalize each other, how we discriminate against each other, how we just tolerate each other. And tolerance is not a good thing. If you have to tolerate something, it means you don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone says I tolerate blacks, or I tolerate homosexuals, or I tolerate white people, or I tolerate, the Irish or whatever, you're telling me you don't like them and
Yeah,
you wish they weren't here, but you can't do anything about it. So you're just going to tolerate them. That is the
yeah,
most despicable thing you can say. I tolerate these people or any group of people. That's disgusting. And you should be, honestly, you have no place in society because you are going to become the outsider. You're going to become, uh, you know, you're going to become marginalized yourself because the world is changing fast and you better get with it. I say to these people, because you will be the odd ones out.
uh, yeah. I definitely agree with that. 1 second, please.
He's just gone to deal with some daddy issues. But yeah, I'm just saying to everybody, a quick question from the Almighty Spartan God. Um, why do you only have one mod on your channel? I'm not trying to start. I'm just curious. Well, I have no reason to suspect you're trying to start anything anyway, so I can ignore that part. And the curiosity part, yeah. Well, I only have one mod because it's a small, it's a small following. I mean, don't need them. I don't need two mods. And to be honest with you, I don't want to really have to. For me, that's a responsibility that I have to put on my shoulders. If I have another mod, that's just another person I have to think about whether they're doing things correctly on my channel. And I don't really want to take on that burden and have that extra thing to think about. That's why I've only got one mod. It's nothing personal against anyone. It's just I trust Kat implicitly, and I know she won't block people just for the sake of it because she's got a personal vendetta against them, and I know that I don't have to worry about her. But if I have more than one mod, whether it be you or anyone, it just gives me an extra thing to think about, and I really don't feel like I should. I don't care to take that on. I've got enough shit going on my mind to think about. That's why. That's the most honest answer I can give you, bro.
You know what? While we're on this subject of moderators, this is a good time for me to explain my situation with the moderators. Uncompetitive, the one that I just removed the moderator tag off of. Uh,
Oh,
actually,
that was a moderator. Oh, okay.
yes, yes. Well, see, the thing about it was he was not supposed to have that moderator tag. What happened was, I guess he wanted to post a link into the chat, and I had to make him a moderator in order for him to post that link. So the plan was to give him the moderator tag long enough put that link in the comment section and then remove it, but I never removed it. And then as far as me having multiple moderators, these are my closest friends on YouTube. Veda Mephisto, Sick Humor, King Thrash, Gunru Gaming. These are all people that are my closest friends on YouTube. And the reason why I put the moderator tag on them is same thing. So if they want to show the chat something, if they want to post some kind of link to an article or something like that, then they can go ahead and do it without asking me about it.
That's good. That's good, and that's great. And you know what? If honestly, if I if the, when the podcast gets bigger, because there's no reason why it should become smaller unless we do something terribly wrong or change the format that people don't like. But I hope it gets bigger. And if it does get bigger, I'll talk to Kat about who she feels that would make a good mod. And if she, whoever she considers, whether that be the Almighty Spartan God or anyone else, I'll trust her opinion. But at this time, I don't think the channel's big enough to warrant an extra mod. And to be honest, any second mod would come through Cat anyway, and that would be a responsibility that she'd have to take on. And I don't know if she'd want to take that on. I don't know. But if I certainly wouldn't want to take it on, because I've got enough to think about in my life. But if the channel gets bigger in terms of that Gamer Couch podcast, yeah, I will definitely allow Cat to make a decision. And if it's you, the Almighty Spartan God, I won't have a problem with it. I will not have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And you have a podcast every Sunday?
Yeah, the Gamer Couch podcast. There was demand for it. I never really had any intention. I was going on other people's podcasts. I actually used to be part of the Dream Team podcast with One Stop,
Yeah.
and I took a lot of flack being on his podcast because obviously when he asked me, the person I got to know at that time when I agreed to do it is not the person that all these people started describing to me once I ended up on his podcast. Because people saying, "How could you be on that podcast with that guy?" But I lost a lot of subscribers, and honestly, I was defiant. I don't care about losing subscribers. That's not what worries me in life. You know what I care about? I care that my daughter's happy, and she has everything she needs in this world. I don't care about losing subscribers. People go, they go. People come, they come. Welcome. But if you go, goodbye. That's your decision. So I remain defiant, and I continue to be a member of the Dream Team in spite of my sub count dwindling. But I still stayed because, as I say, I don't care about subscribers. I never have. When I say I don't care about subscribers, I do, but I don't care about losing subscribers. Once you're gone, you just go. Don't make a fuss. Just go. I don't even know why people announce that they're subscribing. Sorry, unsubscribing. I don't even know why it's announced in chat or comment. Oh, I'm unsubscribing. You don't have to tell the whole world. Just go. Go quietly. Don't make a fuss. This isn't a nightclub or a bar. It's not a bar brawl. Just go quietly. There's no police here.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, right, I stayed on his podcast, but I left because I'm not going to go into details, but I left because something happened between him and another person, between he and another person. Nothing to do with me. But there were things that I couldn't rightly agree with, and by staying on the Dream Team, I felt it was the wrong thing to do at that time. Me and him are super cool now. We have no issue. Actually, we didn't really fall out over it anyway. He kind of understood. However, I got a lot of flack and pushback and hate for being on that podcast, but it kind of prompted me into doing my own because of being on his podcast and being on podcasts with Wolfflow. Actually, that's the first podcast I ever did was with Wolfflow. So big shout out to him. Getting the experience of being on a podcast and talking with others, because I've got a tendency to interrupt or over talk people. I'm very dominant. I'm a dominant person, actually, when I'm speaking. It's just because, when I hear shit, I have to interrupt it immediately. I can't help it.
Without a doubt. Let me go back to an earlier comment from Don't Call Me Danny. He says, I'll tell you this much. It's getting a little sensitive with these moderators. I've had comments being taken down because I made a joke. Well, I'll tell you this, Danny. Out of all the moderators that that I've given the wrench to, the moderator tags, uh, uncompetitive was the only one who was a moderator that I did not personally know. All my other moderators are people that I personally know and I personally trust. With that being said, now that the moderator tag has been removed from uncompetitive, if any of your jokes are still being blocked or removed, I would have to assume that because they were probably distasteful. Because now that uncompetitive has been removed, that's not to say that he was the one that was blocking them, but he's the only one that had a moderator tag that I did not personally know. But Sick Humor, King Thrash, Gunru Gaming, Fatal Mephisto, I trust all of them. And if any of your jokes got blocked from one of them, then it probably was inappropriate. So hopefully, hopefully with the moderator being gone that I don't personally know, uh, that will eliminate anything being unjustly removed. So, we'll see what happens here. So keep that in mind. That the moderators that are remaining, I trust all of them, and if they remove something, it's because they have my best interest in mind.
You see, look, there's proof in the comments that I am not anti-Xbox fanboys or Xbox. The Almighty Spartan God has typed here. Foxy only deleted me one time. It was one of my comments before, and it's because I typed "suck your mother, Xbox fanboys." Now, why would I delete that comment if I'm against Xbox fanboys? Isn't that in defense of them that I found that offensive? I'm against the moronic uh, pocket of any console
Mm-hmm.
fan base. It doesn't have just Xbox. There are people in the PlayStation community that I cannot stand as well. I'm not going to name them
Right.
because it's not, but there are certain people that I cannot stand. I can't stand them, and they are PlayStation fanboys. So it's not about, oh, I'm white knighting for Sony or PlayStation, or I'm a cheerleader for this console because it's my preferred console. No, it's about, I can't tolerate foolishness. I
Mm-hmm.
don't tolerate foolishness. Someone in your chat also typed earlier that he tolerates people who talk shit and all that stuff. Well, I can't tolerate those people, and I don't have to, and I won't.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things you don't have to tolerate, and I won't tolerate things that are within my control.
I definitely understand that. And so, with that being said, don't call me Danny. If you saying you were speaking in general, my apologies for thinking it was that it was within my channel. I apologize for that. But now, generally speaking, there's a lot of different channels out there with a lot of different YouTubers with a lot of different views. So when you make a comment, um, you just don't know what the reaction is. You just don't know what the reaction is that you're going to get. With that being said, if I make a joke, if I'm watching a YouTuber's channel and I make a joke in there, it's a joke that we can laugh at together instead of, not to say that you were doing this, but I would never make a joke directly at that YouTuber unless it was a joke that we can laugh at together, Um,
Oh,
like,
I'm different from you. If
like,
I'm different from you, I will. It depends on the comment, but if it's certain comments will, it's like you signed your own death warrant with
mhm,
me. Some people comment such stupidity that it cannot be ignored. It's like I am programmed to receive and deconstruct these people because I'm a truth seeker and a truth speaker. That's how I see myself, regardless of how anyone else sees me. I
mhm.
seek the truth and I speak the truth. Okay. So when I see outright lies and misinformation and stupidity in comments, I have to take that person to task. And 9 times out of 10, they do what the guy did today. Ask me for an apology because they're hurt. It still bothers them. Obviously, he still goes to bed at night thinking about me.
I definitely know what you're talking about. But when I'm speaking of like making a joke at somebody, like take King Thrash for instance. You're familiar with King Thrash, are you not?
Yeah, he's been on the Gaming Couch podcast. Yeah.
Okay, so you know some of his famous lines like "Do what you do" and
Yeah. Yeah.
so I might come into his podcast and say something like that, like "Do what you do," and it's something that we can both laugh at together because it's a joke that he can relate to, and it's not meant with malicious intent. It's meant for both of us to laugh at together.
You see,
Uh,
I'm yin and yang. I'm like positive and negative. Like this is how I am. Depending on who I'm interacting with and how they interact with me, I can be the nicest person on this planet.
mhm,
Honestly, there's a side of my brain that is just the most receptive, kind, warmest person on the planet. I will shed tears for you, and they will be real. But there's other people on this earth that really wind me up the wrong way, and they get the other side of me where I am ruthless. I don't care what comes out of my mouth. If it hurts you, it hurts you. If it leads to something, it leads to something. But I will go all the way. And really, that side of me is really there to educate you, because I feel like you can be turned around, but some people are so ignorant and they're willingly ignorant. It's like they won't even, they can see their own ignorance, but they're too stubborn to admit that they could be wrong, or that, there's something not quite right here. And those people that continuously push back and try and get up my goat. I'm
mhm.
not talking about social media. Those people can easily be blocked. I'm talking about people in real walks of life, people that confront you face to face. I can be the most vicious, visceral person on the planet.
Hmm.
And I feel that every person is like that. Anyone who denies that that is their nature are liars, because we're all positive and negative. We are basically conditioned animals to live in harmony, but we are still animals, and we will rip each other to pieces under the right circumstances. If there was an apocalyptic type event and food was scarce, people would be ripping each other apart. Trust me, we are animals. People need to recognize.
Yeah, definitely. You know what my idea of joking is? Like, if you would have had a podcast going on, and I would have been in the comment section, my idea of joking with you would have been repeating something that you said that I found like absolutely hilarious. Like again, what I pointed out earlier in the questions, when I pointed out about you saying you would take somebody apart to a molecular level, is, that was so funny to me that every time I get an alert that Foxy Games UK is streaming, the first thing that hits my head is when he told that guy he'll take him apart to a molecular level, because that's something that's going to stick with me for quite a while, because that was so funny. I
But it
mean,
wasn't. I didn't intend for it to be a joke, though. I actually meant those words, because obviously I can't physically do that. I'm not Doctor Strange. Okay,
yeah,
I can't obviously do that, but consciously I can. Psychologically, I can. I can destroy you. I don't have to touch you. I can destroy you psychologically from 10,000 miles away, because I know my mind, and I know the power of the mind, and I know the ability of our mind, and I know it is woefully underused by the majority of the Earth's population.
hmm,
Once you know yourself and you know your own mind, you can destroy people from 10,000 miles away. You can destroy someone from the other side of the globe psychologically. Look at this person asking for an apology, like, damn near a week later. Do you know what I'm saying? That they've been taking me to bed at night.
they obviously did not.
They're
That was
thinking about me. They're thinking about me. I'm on their mind. That is powerful stuff, bro. That's power.
mhm.
I have affected this person.
Yeah, and that's really disappointing that they waited to come on my podcast to state their case. And I mean, this person knows, if he was that hurt from it, he's had plenty of opportunities to go in your chat section during your podcast and address the issue there. So I thought that was quite disrespectful to bring it here. And I felt he put me in a compromising position, because the Lincoln Show is basically is the feature of my channel. I think the Lincoln Show is what keeps the viewers in tune. And so for him to come in here and to turn it into a situation about about his feelings being hurt, I felt like it put me in a compromising position, and that was definitely inappropriate on his part.
Well, look, if someone's easily offended by me, then they all they're doing is confirming how their own weaknesses. That really, they're just confirming that they're weak, because I have love in my heart, man. I've got love in my heart. I'm not a bad person. I just put people in their place when they need to be put in their place because I'm at a stage in my life where I've been through so much in my life. I've experienced so much. I've traveled the world. I've met multitude of different people that I'm not going to put up with any foolishness from some little Johnny come lately who's never left the country. Are you kidding me? You got
Yeah,
no
well,
experience, no experience. You got no XP.
mhm,
You're
without a
like a
doubt.
JRPG with no XP.
No doubt about that. Let's see here. Don't call me Danny in the comment section says he loves the streams and the gamer couch. So he's thanking you for that.
I appreciate you, man. I got much love for everybody. Trust me, even my haters. I love my haters. I might discipline them psychologically, but I love them. I love them, and the discipline is out of love. It's like tough love. It's tough love.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Speaking of the gamer couch podcast, what are the possibilities that I could get on that podcast?
The possibilities of you getting on the gamer couch.
Yeah, coming by, dropping in for his visit, and sitting in one of the podcasts as a guest.
Well,
Whether
the possibility is about as real as a black man becoming president of the United States. How about that? And you already had it, so you already got it.
excellent, I would love to come on there. Sorry about the
Hey,
intrusive way that I asked to
you
be
can
on
come
there,
on.
but
No, 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 no. If you don't ask, you don't get. Right? You gotta seize your opportunities in life. I don't blame you, man. You're hustling, hustle, man. I know I'm part of the struggle, bro. Listen, you can come on tomorrow if you want to come on tomorrow.
definitely. This is a 3-day weekend because of the Memorial Day coming up here Monday. So without a doubt,
We start at 5 p.m. EST, which is
Eastern
10
time.
p.m. Yeah, Eastern time, which is 10 p.m. in the UK.
Okay, that sounds like a winner. Count me in. Because by then, we do the PlayStation Plus podcast in the morning with Sick Humor. We do it at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And that's the only podcast that I have scheduled for tomorrow. So with that being said, I would love to come on tomorrow.
Now, one Tudor who says, "So you're saying you're better than someone who hasn't been out of the States?" No, I was talking about the UK. I live in the UK, remember? I'm talking about someone in the UK who hasn't been out of the country, so they've got no experience. It wasn't even about America. Where did you I don't know how you got that from what I said. I live in the
Yeah,
UK. You gotta remember, I'm in Europe, not in the Americas.
exactly.
I don't know. But I'm not talking about Americans. I'm talking about someone in my own country who hasn't left the country trying to educate me. They don't know anything about, what do they know? If you haven't expanded your mind, you have to leave your land to expand your mind. Just knowing what is real in your environment means you don't know much. And honestly, I don't know much either. I'm still learning. There's so much I don't know.
Exactly. Guys, Code, what's up? How you doing? So, with that being said, I'm ready to wrap this up because my
Yeah,
son's breathing. He's
that's
breathing
cool.
down my neck for the computer.
That's cool.
Um,
As far as tomorrow, though, I will send you a link 15 minutes before we go live because I like to do like an audio check thing just to make sure it all goes smoothly as possible. Google Hangouts is not the best. Um, yeah, so 15 minutes prior to time, so it'll be around 4:45 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. So and one last question, and this is a PlayStation question. Being that we're friends on the PlayStation now as well, what games do you play on the PlayStation that where we could possibly hook up? Like maybe a Tekken or something like that, or GT Sport or something. What games do you play?
I'm more into co-op games where you can finish the campaign mode together. I'm less of a PvP type person. I'm more co-op. Where you can get people who are concentrated on, objectives within a story, and we can experience it together. Like something like Ghost Recon Wildlands or something. That's
Okay.
a good co-op. That's a good co-op game.
Okay, and I'm pretty sure I could find that game's been out long enough that I'm sure I could find it on sale somewhere because at this point it is not worth the full $60 to me.
Or
Being
Far
that this,
Cry 5, anything that has co-op.
okay,
And I've got a lot of games, so I don't think we'll have trouble hooking up on that.
all right, that sounds like a winner. Um, So, with that being said, I want to thank everyone in the chat for joining us. I appreciate the likes, the comments. I want to thank Foxy Games UK for being my guest. This was huge having them on the show, and I really appreciate it.
You flatter me. I'm not used to this. Go on.
Oh, oh, without a doubt. I mean,
I'm not paying him, by the way.
no question about it. I mean, you know, again, a lot of my favorite YouTubers have, been on this show. So much that like it's like once they leave the show, I'm waiting for the next. I'm waiting for the next video for the next podcast to come out because I like their material that much that I want to see what they want to talk about, what the latest news is. And so in your case, because of the time difference, a lot of times when you go live, I'm at work, so the timing is perfect. Sick
Yeah.
Humor goes on in the morning, so I hear his podcast in the morning, and then I hear yours right around lunchtime, and then somewhere in between that, Craig Harris is live too. So as far as the work part goes, the three of you pretty much get me through my day.
Well, that's good to hear, man. Because I have a channel to connect with people. The channel's not about me at all. I'm just a voice. Really, it's about connecting with gamers and sharing gaming knowledge and information, and making sure everybody is clued up about everything PlayStation and Xbox, whether that be positive news or negative news. I don't pick the news. The news is just out there. It's not. I don't create the news. I think sometimes people think when there's a lot of negative Xbox news that I like as if I invented the news or I'm breaking it. No, this is news that's already out there. I'm just another person reporting on it because I'm more of an aggregate site. I'm an aggregate news YouTube channel where I get all the news together that I feel that people would be interested in, and I relate it to them. It's just I know people have busy lifestyles, so rather than have to go on the net and look at the news individually, someone like me can deliver it to them in video form and provide them all of the links to back up the news stories so that they know they're real, and just get on with your day, man. I'm a time saver. That's what I'm here for. It's a
Yeah,
service. It's a
without a
service.
doubt, without a doubt. And also every time you go live, I'm like, okay, does he got some juicy news? Does he got some new news about the PlayStation 5? It's like, okay, does he got some more information about the PlayStation 5?
Well, I do,
So
I do, I do, but I can't say anything yet.
okay.
Not
Oh,
even on my own channel. I can't say a thing yet. I nearly slipped up yesterday on another podcast where I said, "Oh, I've got some stuff to share," and I'm glad I wasn't reminded of it at the end because I might have got into trouble with some people. So yeah, but I do know some stuff. But
oh,
in
okay.
about in
So
a few weeks, in a few weeks' time.
okay, so can I ask you this without trying to back you into a corner? What you do know that you can't share with us right now, how critical is it?
Pretty important. It's pretty important and interesting stuff. I think people will be interested in. It is, without giving away too much, it's just a confirmation of what everyone hoped for.
Oh, enough said. I can guess in the ballpark what it is, but I'll leave it alone. I'll wait for you to, make it official, and then you best believe when you reveal that information, I probably won't be far behind you doing a live podcast, giving you the credit for the information.
I'm
So
just waiting on an email. I'm waiting on an email that gives me the go ahead, and then I'll do it.
oh, excellent! I'm definitely looking forward to that, uh, without a doubt. And so, once again, I want to thank the viewers for the comments. My apologies for the couple of persistent and unnecessary comments. I like to think that I have the best YouTube chat, the best comment section on YouTube. I think if you are a subscriber to my channel, and you like my content, in some sense, I feel that you are also a representative of this channel when you are in the chat. So
Do you know
for the
what?
most part,
Do you know what's that guy's name? Uncompetitive. I tell you what, if it makes him feel better, I'm gonna apologize. If I offended you in any way, I do apologize. Sincerely apologize. Because I don't want anybody thinking about me in that negative way. I rather they think about me positively if they can. So I'm gonna be a man about it and apologize if if that's how you feel. But still, whether you want to subscribe or unsubscribe, I don't care about that bit. That doesn't bother me. That's an empty threat to me. But you get the apology that you wanted. You've got it now. There's nothing but love for you, man. I love everybody. I love
Mhm.
everybody.
Without a doubt. So with that being said, uncompetitive, keep it positive.
And play games, not corporations.
Without a doubt. And so with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning into the Lincoln Show. Um, it gives me great pleasure to bring the Lincoln Show uh, to everybody, and I've been so fortunate to been able to bring the caliber of YouTubers to this channel and get some great insight from them. Uh, so thanks for tuning in. Give it a like if you happen to catch the replay of it. Give it a like, and as I always say, make sure you lock the door on your way out. And for my guest, Foxy Games UK, this is your boy Lincoln Clay. Everybody have a good one, and we are out.
Thank you.